In the near future, you're gonna start to see a lot of car dealers going out of business. You're gonna see really packed lots and car dealers going out of business for multiple reasons. And in today's video, I'm gonna tell you when you should be buying cars, what you should be buying, what you shouldn't be buying, what you should be looking out for in the near future. I was right a month ago when I said Tesla prices are gonna crash, and I'm gonna be right about this one. Stay tuned. Today is packed with some information. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. Let's get going. A month and a half ago, I started to notice that there were more and more Teslas going through the auction. I also noticed that they weren't selling, and I saw the prices starting to climb down. So I made a video about how Tesla prices are crashing. Then, 1 month later, fast forward, Tesla prices crashed. Tesla, the brand, actually lowered their MSRP on their vehicles. I always say my feet are on the ground, my boots are on the ground. I see what's happening in the world because I own a car dealership. I'm at the auction. What's selling? If expensive cars are selling, it means people have money and they're spending. If expensive cars are not selling, it means people might have tightened their bootstraps a little bit and they're holding back and saving their money. If people are buying more budget-friendly cars, it means they're maybe starting to get a little bit frugal. I start to see things happening before they actually happen. You could say essentially I have a crystal ball when I come to the auction because I see the trends ahead of time before they hit you and hit the retail market. Today's video, car dealers are gonna go out of business. You're gonna start seeing empty lots really soon. Why? I'm gonna get into it a little bit in this video. Now, I started my business in like 2006, 2007 in Florida. 2008, the market crashed, and all of a sudden overnight, car dealerships were empty. I mean, empty parking lots. It was wild. Why did this happen? A lot happened. Interest rates changed, APRs changed, the market dropped, people lost all their money, they lost all their businesses. Now it's a different story, and I'm gonna tell you what's going to happen in the near future. So the Fed is increasing interest rates, right? You go buy a car, the interest rate is higher than you've ever seen. If you're a young person, higher than you've ever seen. Right now, like an average interest rate, a good interest rate is 6%, and average is about 12.49 in the nation. It's wild. It's higher than I've ever seen in my lifetime. Well, when you go buy a car, same with mortgages and same with home loans, and this is gonna affect home prices too. When you personally, you as a retail buyer go buy a mortgage or you go buy a loan for a car, you're paying now a higher interest rate on that vehicle, which means your payment is gonna be higher. So if your payment was, let's say, which is high, $1,000 on a vehicle at 4.9, now it might be $1,300 at 9.9 or 12.9. So what you can afford is still the same. You can afford $1,000, not $1,300. So the price of the car has to come down to reflect the higher interest rate. Now, how do we make that happen? Well, if you only have $1,000 to spend, a lot of other people have that same budget. So that car that you could have afforded before, you can't afford. A lot of people are in that same situation, so they stop buying. So now that car has come down in price. Let me give you an example. I've made plenty of videos about Teslas. I'm not gonna do it again. Let's talk about this Lexus right here. This Lexus had a premium on them. They had a market adjustment because there was a high demand on them, low interest rates, people could afford the payments. So because there was such a demand and the supply was low, the price was high. Economics 101. I talk about that in every video. But what happens is now if that car is $100,000 and everybody could afford it, well, now when interest rates are higher, nobody can afford it. So the only way you can afford it is by lowering the price. So if I'm a car dealer and there's a bunch of people that always want to buy these Lexuses, I could say that my confidence level's up here. I can say to you, nope, I don't want to sell it. I'll sell it to the next person that walks through the door because they'll buy it. Well, when not as many people are buying because the interest rates are higher and they decided, hey, I'm going to keep my car instead of buying a new car, the demand goes down. So now we're more eager to sell the cars. So I've made videos where car prices are coming down, and they are, and they've plummeted, crashed. But this video isn't about you as the consumer, it's about us as the dealers. So why are dealers going to start to lose their shirts soon? Well, let's talk about that Lexus right there again. Now, I'm just going to make up arbitrary numbers and use round figures. So we're gonna say $100,000 car, right? This car is $100,000 at the Lexus dealer, or this car is $80,000 at a used car dealer store, right? Well, we don't own all of these cars. Dealers use what's called a floor plan, a line of credit essentially. And with that floor plan, we have interest rates. So when the interest rate increases, the cost of the car increases. So if I bought this car back in August, I might have paid $100,000. Again, those numbers are skewed, that's not correct, but I might have paid $100,000. Fast forward 6 months, the prices and values of cars have plummeted. They are rock bottom right now. So if you're looking to buy, it's probably a great time. This car might be worth 70. So prices have changed in the past 3 months dramatically. So if I paid 100 for this car 3 months ago and the values have now changed to 80, I still own that car for 100 and I'm paying interest on it, all right? So there's like a VIG, I'm paying every day interest on this car. Well, there's a lot more to it than that. Dealer financing is different. Like lines of credit, our floor plans are different than just you going to get get a loan. You might get a 36-month loan and it's $900 a month or $700 a month or whatever. It's a lot different for dealers. Now, I want to put this in perspective for you. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Now, these numbers, these values are going to be wrong, but again, I'm using it in round figures to make it easy to comprehend. Dealer pays $100,000 for this Lexus 3 months ago. Values have changed. It's now worth $80,000. They have a loan on it that they're paying interest on. They have to make up that difference of lost value somewhere. They paid $100, it's worth $80. They have $20,000 that they've overpaid on that vehicle. They're going to suffer that loss one way or another, whether it's through repossession of giving it back to the bank or whether it's through selling it at a loss retail. What do I mean by selling it at a loss retail? This Tesla, I'm not gonna make a whole Tesla video, I've already done that, but I am gonna show you the image that I showed you before. CarMax is selling their Teslas at gigantic losses because they paid way too much for them and now they're worth less than what they paid. There's not $15,000 worth of wiggle room in negotiation ever. So CarMax is actually taking losses that gigantic just to move their inventory. Now, CarMax isn't the only one. Carvana, gone, like bankrupt. They wildly overpaid for vehicles for several years and everybody knew it, and they were using their shareholder money to invest in cars, and now those cars are worth a fraction of what they paid. Guess what? Carvana, now we're gonna see it on Zoom and all the other big companies too that have overpaid and tried to push all the small people out of business. They're being punished now. They own a lot of inventory. They're gonna have to start liquidating for gigantic losses, which is in turn good for you, because when me as a small dealer can pay less for this car or this car, I can then sell it to you for less money as well. So everybody will start to win very soon. We have all been taken advantage of for a very long time, and now we're gonna start to see it work backwards in our favor. We get really short-term loans, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120-day loans. Now there's an on fee. So if I buy this Jeep Grand Cherokee and I use my floor plan, I pay an on fee of like $60. And then when I pay it off, I pay an off fee of like $60 again. So it's $120 for me to buy and sell this car. Sometimes it's significantly more, like it might be 120 on and 120 off. So $240 for me to finance this car with my floor plan, my line of credit. Now, in between, it accumulates interest. So this car is like, it's on fire, and the longer I have it, the more it's gonna cost me. So I need to move this car. So as interest rates increase, I'm paying more for this car. So I need to unload it, which is easy, right? That's easy to do. You just sell it. Well, not when prices change. So if I bought it 30 days ago, 60 days ago, 90 days ago, the market is completely different than it was back then. I'm gonna own this car for too much and I'm not gonna be able to get rid of it. So I'm gonna keep accruing interest on this car and I'm not gonna be able to sell it because I'm gonna own it for too much. What are my options? So here's what happens. I buy this Grand Cherokee 30 days ago, 60 days ago. Well, I pay prices and values based on 60 days ago market. The market completely changes. It falls out from under me. So now I own this car for too much. So I can't get rid of it. And I'm still paying interest on this vehicle that I owe for too much money every single month. And it's a higher interest rate than you pay as a consumer because it's a short-term loan. Now, take into consideration, car dealers don't have one car. They have 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 cars on a car lot, and they're paying interest on all those cars. And if they bought them all 30, 60, 90 or more days ago, they own a lot of cars that they're paying interest on, a lot of interest every single month. It adds up really fast, and they need to now start thinking about what they're gonna do to get rid of them, to move that inventory, because they can't sell them. So you'll see right here, 90-day unit, 100% green light. This is a retail ready car. This car was on the car dealer's lot for 90 days and did not sell. So 90 days ago, he paid 90 days ago prices, which is crazy. Now, if you look at this Porsche Cayenne S right here, front line ready, new tires, brakes, 2 keys, sticker inside loaded with options, same story. This dealer bought this car, they did tires, they did brakes, they have 2 keys for it, they did an inspection sticker, and it didn't sell. So they invested all their money into tires and brakes and everything, and now they own that car for too much money. Not to mention, if they put it on a floor plan, they're riding that loan out for 90 days at a high interest rate. So you can't sell at retail, so that stinks because you own it for too much money and the market's different. The prices are different, the values are different. So what are you gonna do when you're getting to that 60-day mark or that 90-day mark? Well, when 60-day happens and it hasn't sold, your bank comes to you and says, hey, pay up. We need a portion of the payment to pay off some of that loan to show good faith that you're gonna pay this car off. Well, if they do that for all the cars, that's a big chunk of cash that the dealer has to fork out to pay for 30 cars that they've had for 60 days. Now, they don't have to pay off the entire loan, but they have to pay a good portion of that. So now as a car dealer, you get strapped, you get tight, and you have to fork out a good amount of money to pay off a little bit of money to pay off a little bit of that loan. And guess what? It's still accruing interest and you still own it for too much and you still have to unload it and the values have changed. So you run it through through the auction and you just try to liquidate. You get what you can get and you don't get upset, but you're gonna lose a lot of money. Now, if you own a lot of cars and you run them all through the auction, you're gonna lose your shirt on a lot of cars, and then you have to reevaluate and start basically your business fresh and buy all new cars at today's prices. The other option, which is in your favor as a consumer, is know that prices have changed, is know that values have changed, and if a dealer has had a car on a lot for 90 days or longer, there's a good opportunity for you to negotiate. Knowing this knowledge right now that I'm giving you, you have the power now. The dealer's got to move that thing, the dealer's got to liquidate it, and you're the buyer. So now you have the power to negotiate and get the price that you want based on today's market. Don't lowball people, it's annoying. But know what the market is, do your research, and then make offers based on today's research. Okay, so your 90-day mark is up. You've had a 90-day limit on your line of credit on your floor plan, or 120 days is up. You have a limit on your floor plan. This is what I saw when I started my business in Florida a long time ago. What happens? The bank takes those cars back. The bank wants their money one way or another. They come to your lot and they take the cars back because the bank holds the title, the floor plan company holds the title, and they'll come take your car right from you and tow them back to the auction, and they'll cash out and they'll get all their money back on their investment. And guess what? You're on the hook for the difference, and you have no cars on your lot that you can sell. So it's really tough for a dealer because you have no money now because you've been paying off the debt. You have no cars now because the bank's taking it back, and you still owe the difference on what it sells to your bank on your floor plan. That puts car dealers in a really difficult position, especially the large ones that have been doing really, really well and have a tremendous overhead. Like, my key to success is I've always kept my overhead low. I keep everything inexpensive, I budget everything, and I never get in over my head. I actually own all of my inventory, so I have no worries about floor plans. I have a floor plan as a backup in case I ever need it and I find something that just, I can't, if my money's all tied up like for tax season and I find something that I just can't resist, I have a floor plan, but it's a safety net. It's not my basis to run my business. Now, I have a low overhead and I still pay $10,000 to $15,000 a month in bills, which is tremendous. When I first started, it was like maybe $1,500, $2,000 a month to start, and I still own a small dealership. Now, there are dealerships that have to pay out 40, 50 grand a month before they get paid. So now they have bills, they have mortgages, they have rents, they have expenses, they have lines of credit, they have insurance biz, they have everything they have to pay for that really piles up monthly, 40 grand a month. Imagine trying to make that. You have to make $40,000 before you see a dime in profit. Now, 40 grand and your cars aren't selling and you own them for too much and you're getting kind of squeezed by the finance company. It's a lot to deal with. And then once those cars get taken back, you have no business anymore. Your model's gone and the industry has changed, the market has changed, and you're in trouble. And that's what's gonna happen. Now, I had said it before, I kind of see things coming ahead of time. I knew when prices were increasing. I knew when the supply was going down because of COVID. I knew when the Tesla prices were changing. I knew when the truck market was changing. And it's not because I'm a genius. It's not because I'm like tremendous at my job. It's because I see trends. I'm good at seeing trends. I'm good at spotting things. I'm the buyer for my dealership. I'm the owner for my dealership. I see it on the front end when consumers are buying and what they're buying, and if my phone's ringing a lot or if my phone's not ringing a lot. And I see it on the back end based on how many cars in an auction lot. If you remember, a year ago, I made a video where the auction was completely empty. And here we are with an auction that is full of cars. I've never seen so many cars in this car lot. And a lot of windows say green light or 90-day unit or frontline ready. Why? Because dealers are taking them off their lot and they're trying to clear them out and they're trying to liquidate, which is not a good sign for dealers, but a good sign for you. The power is back in your hands. I'm gonna make some videos about market adjustments. If you remember the past few years, dealers have been taking advantage of you guys with market adjustments. I have a video coming out about that. I have a video coming out about actual values and how you should be buying cars, new or used now. I hope this was interesting. I hope it was entertaining and educational. If it was, thumbs ups are always appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and I would love to hear your opinions down below. Am I right? Am I wrong? What do you see coming up in the future? I read the comments, so post them down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Adios.